Imagine this, a 25-year-old millionaire, living alone in a palace worth hundreds of millions, opens his gates at midnight to a shivering homeless mother clutching her 5-year-old daughter. By sunrise, everything you think you know about kindness, greed, and family will be turned upside down. Stay until the final second, because the ending will leave you speechless. Let's begin. The storm hit Lahore like a verdict. Streets turned into rivers, neon signs flickered, and under the cracked shelter of a closed pharmacy sat Aisha and her daughter Zoya. Aisha's thin dupatta was soaked through. Zoya's lips were blue. They had been evicted 3 days earlier when the landlord padlocked their one-room flat. Aisha's sewing machine, her only source of income, sat inside, unreachable. Across the city, in a hilltop estate the size of a small village, Arham Malik stared at security footage on his phone. At 25, he was Pakistan's youngest self-made tech billionaire, creator of an AI logistics app that had IPO'd for $1.2 billion. The mansion behind him had 42 rooms, a cinema, an indoor pool, and zero laughter. His parents had died in a plane crash when he was 19. Since then, the house had felt more like a vault than a home. The camera feed showed the pharmacy shelter. Arham zoomed in. The little girl was trying to warm her mother's hands with her own breath. Something cracked inside his chest, an old, forgotten fracture. He grabbed the keys to his matte black G-Wagon and drove into the storm. When he pulled up, Aisha instinctively pulled Zoya behind her. Rich men and expensive cars rarely stopped for kindness. "Please," Arham said, rain plastering his hair to his forehead, "come with me. Just for tonight." Aisha's eyes searched his face for the catch. Finding none, she nodded once. The gates swung open like the jaws of a gentle beast. Zoya's eyes widened at the fountain-lit sapphire blue. Inside, the marble floor reflected chandeliers the size of small cars. Staff, accustomed to board members and foreign investors, froze at the sight of the barefoot child leaving muddy prints. Arham carried Zoya when her legs gave out from exhaustion. Aisha clutched a plastic bag with their only possessions: 2 schoolbooks, a broken phone, and a photo of a man who had vanished years ago, Zoya's father. He gave them the East Wing guest suite. Hot showers, fresh clothes from the staff's children's leftovers. A doctor on call checked Zoya's fever. Aisha wept silently when the chef brought chicken soup and butter naan still steaming. Arham stood outside the door, unsure whether to enter or leave. At 3 a.m., he found Zoya in the library, tracing golden book spines with a finger. "Can we stay forever?" she whispered. Arham swallowed. "Let's start with breakfast." Morning revealed challenges. House rules clashed with survival instincts. Aisha tried to wash dishes at 5 a.m. to earn the bed. Staff gossiped. Arham's CFO texted, "Board meets tomorrow. Rumors you're sheltering strangers." Stock dipped 2%. Arham silenced the phone. He offered Aisha a job: alter clothes for the staff uniforms. She had magic in her stitches. Within a week, tailors begged for her patterns. Zoya attended the estate's tutor sessions with Arham's teenage cousin. Laughter, real, messy, child laughter, echoed in hallways that had known only conference calls. But shadows loomed. Paparazzi drones buzzed the perimeter. Tabloids screamed, "Billionaire's secret family?" Aisha overheard maids whisper, "Gold digger." One night she packed their plastic bag. Arham found her at the gate. "You're not a charity case," he said. "You're oxygen. This house was suffocating without you." Aisha's tears fell. "We can't ruin your life." "You're saving mine," he answered. Weeks blurred. Aisha's sewing corner became a mini atelier. She sold designs on Instagram, earning her first lakh independently. Zoya called Arham Bhai, and begged for bedtime stories about algorithms and dragons. Then the board delivered an ultimatum: evict the distraction, or lose CEO voting control. Arham's late father's shares, 51%, were locked in a trust that activated only if Arham married before 26 or forfeited control to a rival cousin hungry for the throne. That night, Arham proposed a solution over biryani. Fake papers, a marriage of convenience for 6 months, then quiet divorce. Aisha would get a settlement to start her brand. Zoya, a trust fund for education. Aisha stared at the ring, a simple silver band, not diamonds. I won't trade my dignity for security. It's not charity, Arham pleaded. It's strategy. Please. She agreed, on one condition. The marriage would be real on paper only. Separate rooms. No intimacy. A contract, not a cage. The nikah was quiet, under the same fountain now strung with fairy lights. Zoya wore a tiny lehenga and threw rose petals like confetti. Social media exploded. Billionaire weds homeless seamstress, fairy tale or PR stunt? Stock soared. Board retreated, but cracks widened. Aisha's old landlord surfaced, claiming she owed back rent and threatening to sue for abandonment. Reporters camped outside schools, terrifying Zoya. Arham's cousin leaked internal emails painting Aisha as an opportunist. One evening, Zoya had a panic attack in the pool house. Arham carried her out, soaking wet, whispering, "Breathe with me, little dragon." Aisha watched from the doorway and realized she had fallen in love, not with the billionaire, but with the man who knelt in puddles for her child. 3 months into the paper marriage, Arham's 26th birthday loomed. The trust would unlock. He could sign the divorce papers, walk away clean. Instead, he gathered Aisha and Zoya in the library at midnight. He opened a safe behind a portrait of his parents. Inside, not cash, but a DNA test kit. "I need to tell you something," he said, voice trembling. 6 years ago, I was 19, reckless, in love with a girl named Sana. We broke up before I knew she was pregnant. She vanished. I hired detectives for years, nothing. He handed Aisha the kit. Zoya's birthmark behind her left ear, it's identical to mine. Same shape, same shade. I noticed the first week. Aisha's world tilted. Zoya, half asleep on the carpet, mumbled, "Mama, why is Arham Bai crying?" Arham knelt. "I think I'm your father." Aisha's scream was silent. Memories flooded. Sana had been her cousin, died in childbirth, leaving Aisha, who couldn't have children, to adopt baby Zoya and promise never to reveal the father's identity. Sana had only said, "He's gone far away to build something big." The DNA results, rushed for triple overtime, confirmed 99.99% paternity. Arham looked at Aisha, terrified. "I didn't plan this. I swear I didn't know." Aisha laughed through sobs. "You opened your gates to strangers, and found your blood." The marriage of convenience became real the next morning, no contract, just vows renewed under the same fountain, this time with Zoya as flower girl and the entire staff as witnesses. Arham transferred 10% of his company to a foundation in Zoya's name, but the real fortune was the family he never knew he had. Here's the part that shocked the world. Aisha refused the billionaire lifestyle. She moved them into a modest farmhouse on the estate grounds, kept sewing, and turned her label into a co-op employing 200 homeless women. Arham sold the mansion, donated proceeds to orphanages, and coded open-source software from a sunlit office beside Zoya's swing set. The tabloids called it the end of a fairy tale. They were wrong. It was the beginning of a legacy. Now tell me, when was the last time you opened a door not knowing who might change your life forever? Drop your story in the comments. Hit subscribe, because next week we're exposing the secret charity run by a pop star that saved 10,000 kids, and almost ruined her. You won't believe the twist. See you there.